Wow, and look, just look at the state of that. I feel quite sorry that I've left the bees with that all winter. Don't know if you can see even a dirty slug in there. That's how damp and gross it is. Yesterday I went down to the Menai Apiary with a fairly simple plan. It was a solid 18 degrees. I couldn't actually believe my luck. So I shot down to the apiary to move 2 colonies from the equipment they were in into some different equipment, so all the equipment was the same in each apiary. I was thinking that was going to make things easier as the season went by. The reason I needed to change them was because I've got a 3rd apiary site and I want to keep all the equipment the same in each apiary site. So I've got plastic hives and I've got wooden hives, and I just wanted to keep all the same equipment in the same apiary, just so everything fits together a lot better. So nothing too complicated really, just a bit of early season organisation if you like. As soon as I lifted the lid on the first hive, I could see something wasn't right. It was really wet, really damp, and as I started working down into the hive, moving frames across, I could see all the frames were getting mouldy and damp and pretty disgusting, to be honest. Frame after frame there were signs of damp, and that can never be a good thing, surely. I knew it was going to be pretty bad in there. Eventually I found a cluster of bees in the middle box, which actually happened to be a super. A small patch of brood, and thankfully the queen. A beautiful queen that I marked blue last year. And seeing her, I've got to say, was a real relief. I thought the colony was doomed, I'm not going to lie. But as I started working down through the frames, the real issue became clear. I don't think it was water coming in from the roof or even from the seams on the side. The bottom box had been completely abandoned by the bees, and the frames down there were really heavily moulded. And when I finally reached the bottom board, I could see what probably caused the whole problem. There were thousands of dead bees on the floor of the hive. So many that they'd actually blocked the entrance. How the colony survived a winter like that, I truly do not know. My best guess is that once the entrance became blocked, the colony probably couldn't ventilate the hive properly, and moisture is often harder than the bees than the cold. But the combination of the two, how they survived, I just can't get my head around it. From everything that I've read, bees can deal with low temperatures surprisingly well, but damp conditions inside the hive can create real problems over winter. So if airflow was restricted, that could explain why the hive became so wet and mouldy. Well, fortunately for me, the plan all along was to move the colony into a fresh hive anyway, so that's what I did. I'm gradually trying to standardise all the kit over at the Menai Apiary. I've gone with the Enel plastic hives there, and in the other out apiaries I'm sticking with the wooden hives that I've got, just to make things easier when having to swap things around. They're just going to fit together better. I'll let you know how I get on with the Enels. After dealing with that hive, I moved straight on to the next colony, and that one was looking so much better. Now, I didn't spot the queen on that inspection, but I did spot a small tennis ball size patch of brood and a nice cluster of bees keeping it warm, which is very reassuring going into the start of this season. I find it so interesting how 2 very similar colonies, just a few metres apart, in the exact same kit, can come through winter in such different ways. What really struck me yesterday was how resilient the bees are, to be honest. I mean, they were in a damp hive through winter. The entrance fully blocked, they couldn't ventilate, it was really damp, and yet the queen was alive. There was a small patch of brood and enough bees to keep the colony going. So the day didn't go quite to plan. I went there expecting to move a few boxes around. Instead, I found a colony which had fought its way through a hard winter. Have you ever opened a colony in spring and wondered how on earth have they survived the winter? Well, I hope your bees are off to a cracking start this spring. Thanks ever so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Whoosh.